Can we move up a bit? Take your marks. Go!
We are back racing yet again. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are racing an all-out 10k in an attempt to run this distance as fast as I possibly can. And as you'll see right from the very start, from when the gun goes off, I am going to look to get to the front of this race and see how long I can hold this position for as I give this a max effort today. So this is the Berkeley 10k. Berkeley is located in the south of Gloucestershire. Now this course I would say is between flat and undulating. It's not pan flat, but there are a few little sections where you've got to do a few climbs. So that's why I'm sort of saying it's in between flat and undulating. It's a 2-lap round the town centre and a 1k section either side of that. So there's 2 times 4k with 1k either side of that, giving you the 10k total. As you can see here, conditions are near perfect. There was no wind whatsoever on this day. The weather was a little bit warm, about 17 or 18 degrees, but that's not too bad over a 10k distance. Let's get settled right into this 10k. So in the early parts of this race, there was a breakaway group of 3 of us. There was my teammate Luke. Luke is hot on my heels. He's on the right hand side. And then we've got a fella who is wearing some rather rascal fiery half tights who I've never seen before. And as you can see in front of me, we have the lead cyclist who's going to take us through this race today. Now I don't know this course, so I didn't know how it would pan out. And luckily enough, the cyclist was there to guide me through. There were marshals throughout the course which did a great job, but the cyclist just helps you relax a little bit because they will tell you when you're making a turn. So it was nice to have them out in front. Now, talking you through the stats overlay of the screen, in the top left hand corner you will see my average pace, which currently is 3:11 per kilometre. Just below that we've got my heart rate, which is normally sky high using the Coros heart rate monitor. And then below that we've got my speed. I don't really pay any attention to my speed, but it is quite nice to look at, 19 kilometers an hour. And then of course in the middle we do have the distance as we go round the course. Now I will also put on the 1k splits. I'll also put on the 5k splits when we get to it. It's not going to be the full 10k because that's going to take quite a while to sit and watch, but we're going to put the best parts in, the highlights. Oh, and I also would mention on the top right hand side you can see there is a slope, the percentage. That's not exactly accurate, but it is roughly correct. $1k, the first k of the race done. We did that in 3 minutes and 10. So the first kilometre is relatively straightforward. It's flat. You're also a little bit excited, so sometimes you can go off a little bit hot, but all in all, that's quite a good first kilometre. Now, I would mention that actually it is a little bit warmer than what I did think. I know I said those temperatures of 16, 17, 18 are ideal, but I did feel the heat quite early on. Being a ginger, I do struggle. But there we go, that's the first K done. I've also got Luke for company, and I've got the fella with the rascal half tights on as well. So there's 3 of us sat quite nicely as I look over my shoulder to see who is on my left and on my right. So we're moving towards the 4-minute mark in this race, and things are quite controlled at this stage. So like I said, I'll jiggle this one through a little bit because it is quite a long race to sit and watch the whole distance. So the 10k distance, I've never actually won a 10k race. In fact, I don't think I've ever won any race of any kind. So to be in this position towards the front of the race is really quite new to me. So how I manage that, as well as how I manage my pace, I've got 2 different things I really need to think about today. So in terms of the 10k distance itself, well, I'll give you a little bit of context of where I'm currently at. Now, my personal best was done at Telford last December even, and I did that in a 31:44. Now, that was a net downhill course. It was also 12 degrees colder than what it was today, and I was also in a stacked field. Now, I finished something like 150th in that race. There were many people faster than me, whereas today it doesn't look like we have quite the depth in field. Nevertheless, it's still a really good fitness test, this one today, and it's a good challenge for me being towards the front of the group. Something I will just pick up on early on, as you can see my heart rate already in the 190s. It does climb so high so early on in races, and I don't know if that's a fault with my Coros heart rate monitor, but we're working really hard already as we head towards the 2nd kilometer already. This seems to fly by, and our 2nd kilometer we clock in at 3 minutes and 7 seconds, so we're just under my PB pace, which is utterly surprising considering what I've just mentioned. So as we near the 3rd kilometre, I'm still holding that first position. Things are feeling quite nicely at the moment. It's 3:07 pace. Currently, Luke is just behind me. There is a small gap that's opened up to about 4 or 5 metres, but Luke is still nearby, so I need to make sure that I keep putting distance into the two of us. Heart rate still at 193. Now, I thought when we hit this 3 kilometre, I will share with you my pre-race routine and some of the things I do before the race. So as we hit the 3rd kilometre, we split a 3:11 over that K, so slightly slower than the first two, but still on point. There was a little bit of undulation there. The slopometer in the top right-hand corner went up a little bit. So pre-race today, we did something slightly different. Now, we did 4.75 kilometres of a warm-up today. And I say we because Luke and I both did the same warm-up. We started at a 4:30 pace and we ended up finishing with 4:14. Now, usually we would do 2 to 3 kilometres, but we both thought we'd go for a slightly longer warm-up today. We also did 6 times 80 metre strides, and they were around about a 250 to 255 pace, just getting those legs nice and warm. So a slightly longer warm-up today. We wanted to make sure that we were raring to go at the start line. Now, I've had a pretty big week up to date. There has not been a taper of any sorts. I did a decent track session on Friday night with my team. I didn't really want to go into this with any kind of taper. I wanted it to be more of a time trial base and to see where I'm at in the middle of a training block. So in terms of supplements and my nutrition and hydration beforehand, very much business as usual. It was my normal overnight oats with a banana, a coffee to get me going and on the toilet nice and early on, some bicarb, which I've been experimenting with recently and I've really enjoyed the rewards of bicarb. I'm still testing it out, so whether it works as well as people say it does, I'm still yet to be decided on that one. But the bicarb's in the system, and I've also had 2 electrolyte tablets as well. The usual Nike half tights, the Aeroswift half tights, my Soul running vest, the Coros armband, and today I've chosen to wear the Alpha Fly 3s. Now, I have done several distances in these shoes now, several different races, so they're probably coming towards retirement, or I'm going to put them into my rotation for my training. But these might be the last race I ever do with them. I did get my PB over the half marathon distance in Barcelona in these shoes. That was a 1:09:31, so I've got a lot of good memories in these shoes. So this might be their farewell ride today, and I'll shut up just for another couple of minutes and let you watch the 3rd and 4th kilometre rollout. There we go, that is 4k up, and that was a 3:13, so we've just dropped off a little bit, but we're coming towards the end of the first of 2 of the laps, and then we're going to finish off with a 1k dash home. So the 4th k, there we go, 3:13. We're still rolling quite nicely, but now there is a sizable gap between me and Luke. Look at the heart rate, 195. We're working hard here, and now it's a matter of, can I hold the gap between us, or have I gone out too hard? So we've jumped it forward just to before the 5k split. Now I'll give you the split for the 5k and for that last k, the 5th k. The 5th k, I managed to do that one in a 3:14, so that was the slowest one. We're slowing down slightly, but there was a little bit more undulation on that one. And the 5k split, we went through there in 15 and 55. So we are right on PB shape, PB pace at the moment. We're a couple of seconds just slower, but we're still looking good for that PB shape. As you can see, we've taken a left-hand turn there, and that was to signify the start of the 2nd lap. If you are still watching, I want to say thank you so much. But you could also do me a massive favour by supporting my very little YouTube channel. So I've been having a look at the details of my channel, and currently only 15% of my viewers are subscribed to my channel. Now if you do subscribe, you'll be doing me a massive favour. It helps with clicks and views and all that sort of good stuff. I'm not sponsored. I've had a few offers to put things on my channel that I've said no to, because I don't think it's anything to do with running, and I want to be as authentic as possible. So the subscribers is what really helps grow this channel. And also thank you to everyone that does comment and share their comments on my videos. I really appreciate that too. Now I've just bumped it forward a little bit, and we've hit our 6th k. We're just at 6.5k now, but the 6th k we went through in a 3:09, so that was our quickest so far. So maybe we are finding something a little bit just to get towards that PB. But you'll notice a few times I do keep looking over my shoulder, because now there's about 15 meters to me and Luke, and I want to make sure that I keep pushing on that one. The heart rate has dropped a touch as my pace is more controlled. Now I'm still lucky enough I've got this chap here on the bike that's leading me through, and it's given me a bit of a focus, because there were moments where I started to drift off and drift away from my concentration, but having him in front of me just make sure that I had a bit of a target to focus on and stayed in the moment. It's so easy to lose 5-10 seconds even per kilometer by switching off, especially when you're racing all on your own. Okay, we're up to kilometre number 7. That's a 3:11 bang on pace. Again, it's getting close. Couple of horses there on either side. Apparently they were spooked by, according to the chap that's in 3rd position, just after Luke and I went through. So hope everything was okay there. But in terms of the racing wise, we're bang on the money for our PB. We're just holding things together nicely. We've got a nice flat section here. Now something that I want to talk to you about, and something that I've been inspired by massively, was this last weekend's London, seeing so many good results, but also seeing so many difficult races for people in the heat. There are a lot of people that couldn't fulfill their dreams. Now one thing I would say is London Marathon is a celebration, but it's all about the hard work you put into it. You can't be defined by one individual race. But this year has really made me think that next year could be the year where I finally make my marathon debut. I've done quite a few half marathons, but I've never done a full marathon. So next year, could it be the year? Let me know in the comments if you want to see me do a full marathon. My thoughts are, with my Barcelona time, the 1:09:31, that should secure me the championship entry standard for next year. The current standard is 1 hour 11 and 30. Now that guarantees you a place into the London Marathon. So I do have a time for next year's London Marathon. For me, it's always been a matter of the amount that I have to put into and the output I've got to do just to get to a marathon start line. With all due respect, I can complete the marathon distance, but if I do it, I want to commit wholeheartedly and put a time and an achievement that I'm 100% proud of. So it's been on my mind for a while now, and I am tempted to do it. Having seen some friends do it this year and do it so well, it's on my mind. I am tempted. Let me know if you think I should do it next year, or if you think it is just too soon and I should keep doing the shorter distances and slowly build up to that full marathon. So 8k, that's the 8th k, complete in 3:16. The pace has started to drop, and my word, at this point, I remember looking down at my watch and seeing the 8k, and I was in agony. My legs were shot to bits, and I really felt like I was struggling. And I had a look over my shoulder, and I saw Luke wasn't too far away, and I genuinely thought that I was starting to fade a little bit too early. I don't know if it was the fact that I went out quite honest paced early on. I felt like it was the right pace, or if maybe the week's training or the heat or whatever it was, but it was certainly feeling like this could be in for a right old dogfight. Now, in my park run videos recently, I have had 2 cameras on, one in the front and one looking back. Now, with this being quite a big race for me today, I didn't want to take 2 cameras. Each camera does weigh quite a bit. With a hat and the sunglasses, the heat of my head, honestly, I was sweating so much. I've just skipped it forward a little bit there. We've got 1,400 meters to go. And what you'll see shortly is runners will turn left and start their second lap, whereas I will head straight on. We still have the lead at this point, so I am heading towards potentially my first ever race victory. Now, I have finished first in a few park runs, but park run isn't a race, so this technically, if we can get across the line, would be my first ever win. Looking behind, I've just had another look. I can still see Luke, but Luke isn't looking like he is going to catch me. So now it's just a matter of settling into this rhythm and trying to hold it for another 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and I should be home and dry. There we go, that's the 9th kilometre up on the board, and that was a 3:16. So again, same as my 8th kilometre. The pace has dropped slightly. Another look behind, because I am now getting a little bit worried about Luke and his position, but we've still got some distance in between. My legs are utterly screaming at me, so I just need to hang on here. There we go. The people are starting to turn left. They're starting their second lap. Well done to those guys and girls there. I am now in a straight 1k dash to the end to see if I can clinch this victory. Just want to say a massive thank you to the race organisers, Dursley Running Club. What a fantastic local event this one is. I'll be back, really well organised, amazing prizes and well ran event. Thank you very much for putting this on. Now I'm going to let the last 250, 300 metres or so just roll out of this video, so sit back and enjoy this. Thank you. Thank you, mate.
Good, 32.10. Max Kelly, Western Tempo.
Woo, well done, Max.
Got the priorities sorted. It was a bottle of red or a bottle of white. I got it for my mum. Bottle of white, not dad.